Digital amnesia. We're losing ourselves in our phone's vertical bar, mindful way television. Have you noticed how your phone is the first thing you reach for in the morning and the last thing you hold before sleep? But here's the strange part: we're spending hours on these screens and still feel empty inside. Ever picked up your phone to check just one thing only to realize 30 minutes later you don't even remember what that one thing was? It's like being lost in a maze you built yourself, and the exits are disappearing. And maybe the most haunting question of all: what if the more we remember things with our devices, the more we forget who we are without them? This is more than distraction. It's not just about wasted time. What we're facing now, quietly, gradually, almost invisibly, is a deeper kind of forgetting. One that isn't about facts or tasks, but about the self. Scientists and philosophers call it digital amnesia, the slow erosion of our ability to remember, reflect, and reconnect. And on Mindful Way Television, we're not just observing it, we're exploring how to wake up from it. Because the true cost of constant scrolling isn't just your attention span, it's your sense of identity. Part 1. The problem isn't the phone. It's what it's replacing. Phones were never the enemy. They were designed to help. Tools, conveniences, lifelines. But slowly, without our full awareness, they've become our mirrors, our confessionals, our emotional escape routes. They now hold more than data, they hold parts of us. We don't remember birthdays or phone numbers because our contacts do that thinking for us. We don't sit with discomfort because there's always a video, a scroll, or a notification ready to numb it. We don't write about our day in private journals. We post filtered moments and wait for tiny hearts to decide their worth. The replacement is subtle, but it's profound. We're outsourcing presence. When you give your memories to machines, you stop strengthening the muscle of memory. When you give your emotions to algorithms, you lose the raw, unfiltered experience of feeling. Slowly, our relationship with the moment, the now, is being severed, not with a sudden cut, but with 1,000 tiny swipes. So what do? How do we begin to return to ourselves? Part 2. The neuroscience of forget who you are. In the previous section, we explored how phones aren't just stealing our time, they're slowly replacing our presence. But what's even more alarming is this: they're also changing our brains. Yes, physically, structurally, neurologically. Neuroscientists are raising a red flag. They're seeing something they've never witnessed at this scale before. The constant, unrelenting exposure to digital devices is literally rewiring the human brain. Let's break this down. First, the hippocampus, this small but powerful region of the brain that helps us form and store memories, is showing signs of reduced activity. When we rely on our phones to remember for us, the hippocampus doesn't get to do its job. It weakens, like an unused muscle. Next, the prefrontal cortex, the wise part of your brain, responsible for decision-making, long-term thinking, and meaning-making, is becoming overwhelmed. The overload of notifications, multitasking, and non-stop digital stimuli dulls its strength. We're becoming more reactive, less reflective. And finally, the amygdala, the ancient part of your brain that controls fear and reward, is being overstimulated. Every like, every alert, every piece of viral content pokes at this part of the brain, teaching it to seek short-term pleasure and stay in a heightened emotional state. So what does this mean in real life? It means we're not just forgetting where we placed our keys or the name of a movie actor. We're forgetting who we are when there's no audience. We're losing the ability to be without performing. Because when your mind is constantly reacting to dings, to swipes, to screens, it doesn't have the stillness it needs to reflect. And reflection is where identity is formed. Not through stimulation, but through silence. Real identity, the kind that grounds you, that centers you, doesn't come from a feed. It comes from within. And it can only speak when everything else goes quiet. Part 3. Signs you're losing yourself digitally. In the last section, we uncovered how our devices aren't just rewiring our attention, they're restructuring our brains. But how does that translate into our daily lives? What are the quiet signals that we're drifting away from ourselves? Let's take a mindful breath and get honest. Here are some subtle, yet deeply telling signs that digital amnesia is no longer a theory, but your lived reality. You feel a subtle sense of panic when your phone isn't within reach, not because you're in danger, but because you've grown uncomfortable with uncertainty. That tiny screen feels like a lifeline to predictability, to control. You struggle to recall the last deep, uninterrupted conversation you had, one where eye contact wasn't broken by a glowing screen. Your mind keeps drifting, fingers twitching, waiting for the next dopamine hit from a notification. Your journal gathers dust. You reflect less, write less, pause less. But ironically, your social media feed grows. You share more with strangers than you do with yourself. You scroll endlessly, not out of curiosity or joy, but to escape, to silence the discomfort, to feel occupied without truly being present. And the most powerful sign of all? Something feels off. There's an inner whisper telling you that this isn't sustainable, but you can't quite name it, and you don't know how to stop. We've curated digital identities that appear full, vibrant, socially alive. But inside, many of us feel like ghosts watching our lives unfold through a screen, always one step removed from the present moment. We've built lives that feel full on the outside and hollow on the inside. So where do we go from here? How do we begin to turn inward and reclaim the parts of ourselves that technology has quietly muted? Part 4. How to reclaim yourself. Up to this point, we've uncovered how the constant presence of technology is reshaping not just how we think, but who we are. The signs are there. You've felt them. But here's the light in the distance. You are not broken. Your soul isn't lost. It's simply been buried beneath layers of distraction. Your attention hasn't disappeared. It's been hijacked. And like anything stolen, it can be taken back. Reclaiming yourself isn't about quitting technology. It's about consciously choosing how you relate to it. It's not rejection, it's redirection, and it starts with small, sacred shifts. Here's how you can begin. 1. Digital fasting. Think of this as nourishment for your soul. Try setting boundaries. 1 hour a day without screens. 1 full day each week. And if you're ready, 1 week a year to go fully offline. Not as punishment, but as a pilgrimage back to presence. 2. Relearn silence. When was the last time you sat in total stillness, with no background noise, not even a podcast or soothing playlist? Sit with yourself. Let the discomfort come. Let the boredom in. Because creativity often enters through the door that boredom unlocks. 3. Journal by hand. There's something ancient and healing about pen on paper. It's not just about writing, it's about slowing down enough to listen to yourself. Each word becomes a mirror, each sentence a bridge back to your own awareness. 4. Recall conversations. At the end of the day, ask yourself gently, what did I hear today? What did I feel? What moment stayed with me? Don't scroll through your gallery, scroll through your memory. Practice the art of remembering. These are not trendy hacks or quick productivity tricks. They are invitations. They are homecomings back to your own mind, your own story, your own rhythm. And as you begin to return to yourself, you'll notice something powerful. The noise begins to quiet, and your true voice begins to rise. In the next part, we'll explore what you might find in that silence and why it might be the most important thing you've remembered in a long time. Part 5. What you'll find when you return. After stepping away even just a little from the constant noise, something begins to happen. Slowly, at first, quietly, but unmistakably. You begin to remember yourself. Not just your routines or your responsibilities, but the you underneath the noise, the one that doesn't need to perform, the one that remembers how to breathe, how to feel, how to be. And here's the beautiful truth. The more you remember yourself, the less the world can manipulate you. Because when you're rooted in your own presence, you're no longer so easily swayed by trends, ads, outrage, or validation seeking. You'll begin to notice moments that once passed by unnoticed now feel sacred. A pause between breaths that feels full of life. A sunset that stirs something in you and doesn't need to be shared. A thought, pure and unfiltered, that belongs only to you, untouched by algorithms. You'll realize that not every emotion needs an audience. Not every idea needs to be posted. Some things are just for you. And maybe one day after a walk, or a moment of silence, or a long exhale, you'll look in the mirror and whisper, asterisk, ah, there you are, asterisk. That moment, right there, is everything. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It doesn't need applause. But it's real. And the truth is, your mind was never meant to live on a screen asterisk. It was meant to wander, to wonder, to rest, to remember. So here's your quiet invitation. Close your eyes, put down your phone, breathe, and ask yourself gently, honestly, asterisk, what part of me have I been avoiding by scrolling? Asterisk, if something stirred in you, a feeling, a memory, a truth, don't dismiss it. That's not a glitch. That's not your mind playing tricks. That's you waking up, coming back. Because the deepest kind of healing doesn't start with noise. It starts with noticing. It starts with presence. And right now, in this very moment, you've already begun. If this message spoke to you, share it. Comment below. Help us grow this space of stillness, story, and soul. Subscribe to Mindful Way Television for more gentle awakenings like this. Each video is crafted with intention to help you pause, reflect, and reconnect. And if you're ready to keep walking this path to reclaim your mind, your energy, your life, we invite you to watch our next episode. It may be the reminder you didn't know you needed. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for remembering yourself. This is Mindful Way Television.